Hey guys. We're getting ready for SketchUp, and some of the things SketchUp is very different than AutoCAD in certain ways. Like AutoCAD, you learned that you can make things into blocks. In SketchUp, there is something similar available, and they're called components. So I'm going to show you how you can actually work off of a picture. Excuse me, of a piece of furniture that you found, and to create a model in SketchUp of that piece of furniture. So let me share my screen. Not that one, this one. Okay. All right. So this is the piece I'm working on. It is a piece from West Elm. Now, one of the things that I've actually found that makes things a little bit easier, you can go back and forth between your screens, but when I'm on Zoom, that gets really tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, File, and I want to import. And I am going to go to, first I gotta get some stuff out of my way. Recents. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to import the picture of this desk that I'm putting together. So see how that came in? It's right here. All right, so I'm going to take this piece right here and I'm just going to scale it big enough where I can actually look at it. And so there's that. Now, what I can do is I can say, okay, I want to actually rotate this. Now, here's the thing: when we rotate, um, you have to figure what axis you want to do it along. I'm doing it along the green, so that way I can actually work on making it stand up. Now I'm going to do it along, I probably should have done it along the red all along, but there we go. So now I actually have it in a usable, rather than having to go, oh, I got to zoom out and look at this. So this is what I'm looking at. So let's start with the bookcase. So what I'm going to do is I am going to move this and I'm just going to tilt down a little bit. And I'm going to start with a rectangle. So I'm going to draw a rectangle on the ground. And I looked at the dimensions of this earlier to do my former model. It is, let's see, 29 inches deep by 64 inches long. All right, so there's that little bit. And then what I'm going to do is, I know that it is roughly 29 inches tall. So I'm going to extrude that, say 29. Now you'll notice that this case piece is sitting on legs. Now, sometimes you have to do a bit of an approximation. I'm approximating from the bottom of the leg all the way to the bottom of the case piece. It should be about 4 inches. So I will do my base here in a minute. So right now I'm going to accommodate that, and I'm going to push this up 4 inches. So that way my little box is what it should be. Now, from here, rather than just drawing lines all over the place, what I do is I use my guides, and that is this little tape measure. What I can do is I can go from the side and pull down, and like I said, I'm looking at this and I'm approximating a little bit, but it looks like that the thickness is probably about 1.5 inches. I can do the same thing here, 1.5. Oh, that's wrong. Hello. Give it a minute. It's trying to figure things out. There we go. All right, and I'll do the same thing on my sides. 1.5 over, okay, where does that? 1.5. And it's actually not on the plane I need it to be on. So let's try this. Why is part of it disappearing? 1.5. Okay, well, let's see if I can get this to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now draw a rectangle from point to point. Once I have that, I can go ahead, go to my select button, delete, 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 and I can get rid of those guides. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. All right. This midpoint is still 1.5 inches. So what I am going to do temporarily is I'm going to go from midpoint down, midpoint down. Now, half of 1.5 inches is 0.75 inches. So I will go back to my guide again. I'll go, okay, from here over 1.5, or I'm sorry, excuse me, 0.75, 0.75, up, 75, and then down. All right, so I'm gonna use my rectangle tool again. I'm gonna make these into rectangles. This will make sense here in a moment. All right, so I got that bed in. Now I need to clean this up a little bit. You don't want to leave too much for yourself to clean up. You want to try and get it done as much as you can. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these guidelines. You want to get rid of the guidelines because when I make this a component, if I don't, what'll happen is those guidelines will become part of my component and it winds up being very messy in my finished model. All right, so now this is what I have. So what I want to do now is I want to say, okay, I want to push pull. I know that the overall is roughly 29 inches, so I want to push this in 28. Oops, wrong way. 28, enter. 28, 28, 28. All right, so now I have the upper part of the bookcase. I can come back. And what I will do is I'm going to select this. I like to do it from this angle because I cannot get all the rest of these bits that are in my model. So I'll take this and I'll select it. Then I will right click and I'll say make component. And I'm going to say, okay, WE, which is West Elm, bookcase top. All right, so there's that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a rectangle again. And it is going to be 29 by 64. All right. And I am going to extrude it approximately 1 inch. And then I'm going to change my vantage point. I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to draw some rectangles, or actually these will wind up being squares. So I'm going to say 1 inch by 1 inch. Okay. And then I'll push pull this bit out 3 inches. I'll do that for all of these. Okay. Change my vantage point. Go to my select. All right. Right click, make a component. WE bookcase base. All right, so now that's one completed component. So why am I making components? Well, the reason I'm making components is if I do this and I go to move it, bits and pieces will fall off of it. And then I just have a mess. So one of the tricks of working effectively in SketchUp is the use of components and groups. The difference between a component and a group. Okay, a group will hold everything together as well, which is great. A component, if I make a component and then I edit that component, let's say I have 2 or 3 of these inside a room. It will edit all of them at the same time unless I make it unique. So there's an advantage to that. So if you're looking at having multiples of something, component's probably your better option. If it's just one of something, a group is probably a better option. So now I'm going to move the top. I'm going to grab that corner. And then I'm going to zoom in so I can get this aligned. There we go. Alrighty. And I am going to, once again, I'm going to select this, right click and say, okay, make component. WE finished case. Okay. All right. So there's that. So now I have that little bit. Now the next thing I need to do is I'm going to need to work on, if you look at this, this is actually a slab that's sitting on the top. Basically it's 64 inches by 1.5 inches thick. So that one's going to be really easy. We're going to actually come over here and I'm going to say, all right, I need to go 64 by, sorry, 29. Oops, oops. Let me go edit, undo. I skipped on something. Okay, so we've got, so 64, 29. There we go. All right, I'm going to say push pull 1.5 inches. All right, I'm going to select this, right click, and I'm going to say make a component. And this is now WE desk top. All right, and I'm going to replace because I had something like that before. So here's this little bit. All right. Now what I can do is I'm going to change my vantage point so I can get the bottom part of this. I'm going to grab this, I'm going to come up, put that right there. All right, so now I have my top. So the tricky bit now is that I'm going to need to do this file cabinet, which is also serving as a base. So what I can do is I can go, okay, I'm going to grab this. Let me go, I'm going to say explode. Take this bit, I'm going to go edit, copy, move it over, edit, paste. So there's my platform. And what I'm going to do is trying to figure out the best way to do this if you're wondering what I'm doing. Okay, so that bit there, let's see, over here, that is going to be, so it's a foot wide. 1 foot wide, okay. Okay, so this is actually 1 foot in width, the file cabinet I'm about to do. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to go, okay. I'm going to go from here to here, and I'm going to say 1 foot. All right. And what I was trying to figure out is I was trying to figure out the easiest possible way to do this. And actually the easiest possible way to probably do this, let me see if actually I've got to come in and do another guide. Here, over 1 foot. Okay. So probably the fastest and easiest way to actually do this is to say, okay, push pull. And actually I have to select this and say, I need to make unique or else it's going to change the other one as well. And then I need to say, edit component. And I'm going to come down here. I'm going to push pull this all the way to here. I'll come over, I'll do the same thing. And it looks very odd right now. I could redraw it, but I'm trying to show you the fastest way that I figured out to do things. And I have runaway SketchUp right now, so please bear with me. Okay. Now, see how the object I'm editing is clear, but everything else is grayed out. That's a reason. There's a reason for that. It's SketchUp's way of saying you're in the process of doing this, that you're editing a component right now. So it's actually SketchUp's way of kind of keeping you honest, if you will. Okay, so there's that. Now, what I do need to do is I'm going to push pull that other side here in 1 second, but I need to know how far to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another guide. I'm going to go from here over 1 inch, and that will allow me to take this bit and push pull to this location. There we go. So now I have the base for my file cabinet. Pretty handy, right? All right, so I finished that. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of these. So, whoops. Stop dinging. Okay, so, all right, so there's that. Let me go to, it's doing weird stuff. Okay. Well, I'll make it work. I'll figure it out here in a minute. All right, so there's that little bit. So now what I need to do is I need to do a box that is going to be, where is my, I have to be able to see. Oh, please don't do that. Okay, here we go. It's going to be 29 deep by 1 foot wide. So 29, okay. And then I'm going to push pull this, 29. Going to do the same thing that I did with the bookcase. I'm going to push pull that up, and it's going to be up 4 inches. All right. So now what I have to do is I have to create my drawers. $17. And then 7 and 7. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back to my guides again. We'll go from here up. And I'm getting this information off the website. No, that's not right. 12. Up 7. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think that's, yeah, that's all on the same plane. The other tricky bit with SketchUp is sometimes you can't tell if things are on the same plane, and that can be problematic, but you can navigate it. All right, so then what I need to do is these have kind of finger holds on them. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, okay, 1.5, 1.5. I'm going to draw. Okay. Get rid of those guides again. Then I'm going to push that in. I'm going to say 0.5. Push this in, 0.5. Okay. I'm going to change my vantage point. I can call this make component net plinth. Oops, I need to say I like to put the manufacturer's initials in, or it's really easy to get things mixed up. And somehow I got a little off. So what we're going to do is I'm going to fix it. Okay, so I need to select, and I need to do from here over 1. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. So then I'm going to push pull it to that marker. I'll change my vantage point, and then I will push pull this over and edit, undo. Actually, what happened just then was I accidentally push pulled where it matched up. What happens when you do that is it'll actually open up the side of your geometry, which I don't want on this particular thing. That's handy if I'm doing windows and I want an opening, but when I'm actually doing a piece of furniture, not so much. All right, so now, right, that's fixed. So since I'm here, what I can do also is I can go, okay, I need to get rid of some of these. Delete. Okay, that's looking pretty good. All right. I just click out to stop that editing mode. Okay, now I will select, make component, WE file, now I'm going to rotate this because it's oriented wrong. Okay. And it still looks like it's oriented wrong, but let's try moving it. Yeah, it's completely oriented wrong. That's okay. I can fix it here in a minute. All right. Okay, that's looking more parallel right there. Okay, let's try moving that into place and see how it looks. All right. So now we have our desk. Let me go in. Okay, so okay. All right, so this is looking pretty darn good, but it's missing something. It's actually missing the texture. So what I need to do is I need to, I just took a screenshot of the actual material. And I'm going to go down to where it says color. I have my materials here, say new texture. And I'm just gonna go to recent because it's easier to find when I take a screenshot. Right here is my screenshot. Okay, there's that. And it's asking me, this is going to be, I'm going to rename this, and this is West Elm wood. All right. And the width that's being shown is approximately 29 inches. And it'll scale this accordingly. That's fine. I'm going to click OK. Scroll down. There it is. Great. All right. So let's get some painting on. There we go. All right. So there's that. There's that. There's that. All right, and now what I need to do is these bases are kind of this carbon color. So I'm gonna paint that. I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna make this one an individual. And I'm going to paint that. All right, so this is actually mimicking what the West Elm piece looks like. Now that I have it painted, what I need to do is I need to come and I need to select all of it, make component, West Elm desk. All right, so now I have that. What I need to do now is I need to move it into my model. So I'm going to zoom out so I can see what I'm doing. Go, okay, oops. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to kind of plop it in here. I'll adjust it here in a minute. I just want to be able to see what I'm doing. All right, and it's oriented wrong. So what I am going to do is I'm going to say, okay, It's oriented this way. I need it to face this way. I'm going to take it. I'm going to move it again. And actually, I have it oriented wrong again. Come on. Do not. Okay. All right, so let's take this and go, all right. Okay, now move it again. All right. So I've now been able to actually mock up what this desk looks like inside this space for a potential client. One of the things that I need to check out, though, is I need to check out if this knee hole is correct, because I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, I don't know if that's right. So that's something that I'm going to have to do in my own time to see if maybe I drafted something wrong or if the knee hole is just that tight. But that's also one of the reasons why we mock some of these up, is so that way we have a better understanding of what a piece might look like. It's not about it being literally exactly the same, but you want to understand the proportions as much as possible. So the 3D modeling really enables us to catch mistakes before they become critical. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.